Good morning, Instagram. So here we are today having a beautiful conversation. Welcome to our second episode of Civilizations of Truth. And today, let me just set this up. Today we're going to be talking to CyberChuck, Charles Campbell. Here we are. We're going to just join. Here he is requesting to join. And we're going to Chuck. Here he is, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Our second episode in Civilizations of Truth. Where is Chuck? There.
Hey, Sylvana. Hello,
you?
Cyber Love. How are you?
Very good, very good. So let me start off. Let me get comfortable and start off by inviting those of you online to kind of take a seat. We're going to be here together for the next maybe 45 minutes to an hour with CyberChuck, Charles Campbell, a good friend of mine that is part of Team Cyber Yoga, coming to us live from California. Hey, Chuck, how's it going?
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure sharing time with you. Your energy is so great.
You. Thank you so much. So here's the idea. We started a new series called Civilizations of Truth. It's on Live Talk Mondays here with me at Sylvana Lorentzatos. And the idea was to bring to you, to the audience, inspirational souls, people that are actively trying to change the world, that are actively working daily at taking their experience and co-creating a new life, co-creating an existence that will hopefully bring a little bit more love and a little bit more joy to the rest of us. And Chuck has an amazing story. So as my second guest, I wanted to make sure that we could give Chuck a little bit of time to share his story. And I'll start off first and foremost by thanking you so much for being part of today's episode.
Well, thank you for having me. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh my God, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Okay, so let's start right off the bat. Okay, we're gonna go in and out of different conversations because we do know each other outside of this live. And so you, the audience, may feel us flowing in and out. And so it's going to feel like a conversation with one of your best friends. And if you have any comments, if you have any questions, please always feel free to comment right underneath. We'll get back to you with all the information and the answers, whatever that is. And if you want to be part of Team Cyber Yoga, Chuck's your man. This is the guy behind the scenes. This is the guy that is constantly actively working at growing this, how can we call it, this collective, at making sure that there is a space created for individuals and souls that want to be part of a greater collective, of maybe creating the world the way we really want to live it, right? And so the reason why Chuck is one of the guests today is because his story is quite inspirational. And I want to maybe start off by giving you the space to tell us, how did you come about being in LA at this moment? Because I know that when I met you just about a year ago, you were still in Dallas and life was happening and you had connections in LA because I think you're originally from LA. So Dallas was just a temporary spot, a temporary stop for you. You want to start off by giving us a little bit of a feedback, where you're coming from and how did you get to California this time around?
Well, this time around, I was in Dallas. COVID had hit. I was in isolation because, everybody had to be isolated. And Lamont, the creator of Cyber Yoga, reached out to me, which is a good friend of mine from back in the 90s. And he knew that I was struggling. I was by myself. I was using, I was drinking, and I was all about get choked up.
It's okay. This is the space to be absolutely truthful because our stories.
Yeah, with Tim and with Desiree, there were some people that believed in me and stood by me. And him reaching out to me, I ended up ultimately coming back out to California, changing my life. I'm 335 days now without drinking or using. And I went back to Texas. And just my energy and everything that I had going on, that wasn't the space for me. It wasn't the space. I felt like there was so much more that I could be doing, and me being by myself in Dallas wasn't the place to be. And ultimately, you know, I was connected to a community out here in LA, which is a bunch of healers, bunch of positive people, people that are pushing the envelope to spread love and to ultimately better themselves. And I wanted to be around that. And I came back out here and just everything's unraveling. Everything is just going amazing. You know, just the opportunities and people that I'm around full of love, light, and joy. And, you know, it's true. Like energies attract each other.
Yeah.
And there you are. And here we are. We met online and you have the same mission as me. And I'm finding that when you're in that positive vibration, the positive frequency, you start attracting other people who are similar to you. And, you know, here we are, you know, just pushing the envelope every day and working with Lamont. We've, you know, come together and put together Team Cyber Yoga. And we're out there every day, inspiring, motivating, just showing other people that there's more to it than just what we're used to, right? Because change comes from outside of the comfort zone. You have to challenge yourself every day, daily. And what, like Lamont told me, consistently.
Yeah.
You have to be consistent with what you do. So when you see Lamont online, you see me online, we're the same people. When you find us at the store, at the park, wherever you see us, it's the same person. You're not going to find us not the same. It's always the same. And we're consistent with that. So when I'm online giving my videos daily,
Yeah.
I'm not telling you what to do. I'm sharing with you what I'm doing. So
Yeah.
when you see me, that's what I'm doing. And behind the scenes, that's what I'm doing. When nobody's looking, I'm meditating or I'm pushing the envelope. I'm challenging myself to do whatever it can be.
Yes.
You know, because nowadays it seems like if you're doing something, right, people are, look at me, snap photo, you know, like helping somebody, but you're taking a picture as you're helping somebody, right?
Right, right.
So everyone sees what you're doing. But this is just who we are when nobody's looking.
Right.
When no one's looking, I'm by myself. I'll be sitting in my room by myself, practicing breathing exercises or watching something to elevate my mind to a different place of positivity. Like literally have not watched the news since leaving Dallas. I don't watch TV. I don't watch none of that stuff. I keep my mind focused on what's going to improve me,
Right.
not what's going to lower my frequency. And I don't want to get caught up in the drama of all that stuff. So I just focus on, you know, healing myself. And within that, I can share that with everybody. And with the hopes that someone else can see that, you know what, I've been in that same space. And they can find that, you know, they can change too.
Right.
And ultimately, that's the goal, is just to share my story so that other people can see like, hey, you know what? I've been down that same road. If he can do it, I definitely can, because I know definitely I should not have come off of my road. I should have fell right off, should not be right here talking to you. And with just a little bit of love and support, well, actually not even a little bit, a lot of love and support from a few people, it really propelled me and motivated me to take this step. And, you know, ultimately we have to make that decision within ourselves, right?
Right. So so I'm hearing you speak, and there's so many nuggets of wisdom that I don't want to cut you off, but I do want to give the viewers, the listeners, a little bit of an opportunity to learn from you right now. Okay. So there's a few things that you said that I heard you say, and if I may, if you give me the permission. You did state in your conversation just now that you came from a space that was quite dark, all right? And that it's been 330 some odd days that you're clean and sober, and that you haven't touched drugs or alcohol in that time frame. And I'm so proud. First and foremost, I want to take the time to stop right now and congratulate you, because that is the practice. It's in looking at the things that no longer serve and letting them go so that you can fill the space and kind of give yourself the opportunity to work in the direction that you do want to go to. Now, before we go any further, and this may get a little bit emotional, and if you feel like you don't feel like answering, that's okay, but I just want to be raw and I want to be really, really forward. What was the moment? And I know Lamont called you and Lamont invited you to come back into LA to kind of reconnect with the community. But what was that moment, that one moment where you said to yourself, I've had enough.
It
I've had
was,
enough and I want to do something better. Do you remember that moment, that second that said, I'm ready now to actually take action? Not just that I want to, not just that I need to and I know I have to, but that moment that really brought you to the space of, no, I'm going to actually take action now. Can you share that moment for us, with us?
yeah, I was under the influence. I was drinking. Lamont called me and started speaking to me about, coming and like fixing my life and getting on the right path again. And just hearing the authenticity of love out of his mouth, and hearing that there are people that authentically care and want to see the best for you and are coming from a place of, of realness.
Right.
Just the way he was speaking to me broke me down, and I started crying. And I started realizing, like, man, that's what I want. I want happiness. I want to be happy. I want to get out of this, because every day was just back to back. It was the same routine over and over. And COVID was there, so I couldn't even go anywhere. It was like Groundhog's Day, just reliving the same day over and over and over and over. And it seemed like a nightmare, because as I'm watching TV, it's getting worse. It's coming to my county. Everything's shutting down. But yet, I could have alcohol delivered to my front door. And, what else was I going to do when I was left to myself to think for myself? There was nothing else to do. So, and here's this nightmare happening on TV. I was just losing hope. I'm like, I'm literally going to be stuck in this home with nobody around me. Nobody can come visit. And hearing Lamont talk, I was like, I want some of that. I want to be happy. And, he gave me some motivation and inspiration, and he pointed me in the direction. Mm-hmm. And I always give him credit, but he always tells me, he goes, brother, I just pointed you in the direction you walked.
Yeah. And that's exactly why I said that gave you the opportunity, the choice, because what I heard you say is you had a beautiful soul that saw you. Lamont saw the soul behind the human experience that you were living in that moment, right? And so with the grace of his love and his commitment to you, mm-hmm. he reminded you of your grace, of your beauty. But then you had to take the decision, you had to take the action to now start to practice and basically relearn who Chuck is. And in the last 300 and some odd days, I've witnessed you daily, and I can see that the man that I met in Dallas, the soul that I fell in love with, is still very present here. But the outside attachments are no longer holding on to your frame. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so the reason why I was asking you this question is because there are probably people right now who may have a dependency, whether it be to drugs or alcohol, to relationships, to codependency, to food, to shopping. Right now, COVID has affected the mental psyche of a lot of humanity. I see it every day. I talk to people very, very regularly. And what I noticed is that mental health has absolutely skyrocketed. And so the reason why sharing a story I thought was very important was because there's going to be one individual out there, whether it's through substance abuse or through mental health, that will be able to be inspired by your story, by the fact that you are actively choosing daily to be this version of yourself. And just so the audience knows, you do have a history with the Coast Guard. So you are a man that has given part of your life to protect your country. You know what I mean? And given that, there's also things that you may have witnessed or you've experienced that will bring about maybe PTSD, and they'll bring about reasons why you needed to cope the way you were coping. And yet, I still see your soul. I see the soul behind it that's today now saying, hey, listen, this is my truth. And I walk this path with grace, and I walk it with courage, with being courageous. And now today, guys, for those of you who don't know who Charles is, he's a motivational speaker. He is a person who has turned his experience and now is here and ready to give it right back to you, as raw and as truthful as you see, as the videos that are presented to you every single day. And so, congratulations, A.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for being my inspiration every single day. Thank you for, putting yourself out there and for being a witness to yourself, and then taking that and now giving it back to the world. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
And so speaking of that, I know that we were talking earlier today about inspiration.
Yeah.
And I heard you say that you came from, you originally were in California. You went back to Dallas for whatever reasons. Now are back into the core of your family, of your peer group. And so California has a beautiful spiritual community, if you want to say it, a healing community. And I know that you are smack in the middle of this community. And so what is it that this community does for you and with you? Do you have any projects coming up? And then the next question will be your inspiration behind that. So let's talk about
any projects. Yeah, any projects. Team Cyber Yoga. At some point we're looking to put together some type of workshops,
yes,
or some type of events where we can highlight everything from motivation, inspiration, dance, performance. Just all different types of amazing things that can elevate people's minds, motivate people, and just share the love and authenticity throughout. So that's one. We're daily trying to push the envelope of motivating and inspiring people. Also, at some point, I want to get a nonprofit. It's going to be for veterans and also for other people, but mostly towards veterans. It'll be wellness and yoga for them, and possibly even working with prior incarcerated men, because I know personally that a lot of trying to be macho and trying to be strong and you don't want to show any emotion, that holds so much trauma within inside that you don't release that. And I want to let them know that it's okay, because I came from that,
Yeah, exactly.
There was a point in my life where all I knew was violence. All I knew how to deal with things was through physical contact or whatever, or through yelling, and love wasn't something that existed. So knowing that that's real and it's okay, and releasing these emotions ultimately helps the healing process. Right. So I want to work with people in that way, that I can show them hey, there's more to it than just this. There's a balance between the two. You know what I mean? You can balance having emotion and caring, and also being the tough and being strong and protective. But there's got to be a balance in there. When it's not balanced, then that's where things happen in life. And I want to work and just show people that. And I know, being at the VA, I was there for 11 months in a program that there's a lot of guys that need to feel the love, and they need to see
right,
different ways of maybe exercising or just healing, or just even be heard. And to be heard by someone that understands your story, that maybe has walked that, it's so much better than someone, I give credit to all the doctors and everything, but if you haven't walked the path, someone like me prior won't listen to you. I'm not going to listen to you if you haven't walked it. Just because you read about it doesn't mean anything. I love to know that you know what I'm talking about, because you've been through it. Because more than reading about things, there's an emotional attachment.
Yes.
If you haven't emotionally felt that situation or that feeling, then you really don't know what I'm talking about. Because there's a difference between the knowledge of reading and the knowledge of feeling.
Yeah, of living, yes.
Of living, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I want to work with people, and I just want to give light and love out into the world. And that's something I never used before. The word love never came out of my mouth. And it's so much more than just saying it's a physical thing. It's an energetic thing, and loving, and just, it feels amazing. You know what I mean? That has replaced the drugs and the alcohol, is that energy of love. And, that's what motivates me every day, because I don't want to go back into that dark space, because that dark space is dark.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I know, and having come, I've come from a dark space as well, with whatever histories that I've lived with, and so I resonate when you speak. I can understand. Yes, no, I haven't been in the U.S. Coast Guard, and I haven't been maybe through the same experiences that you have. But I think that we're gonna nickname it PTSD as an overall. But I think mental health are situations that come from where they affect the psyche. They affect not only the everyday experience of the human, but it affects the overall outlook and perception of that person's life. You know what I mean? And those things get stuck. They get stuck so deep down inside that they start to alter what seems to be the reality. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so when I hear you speak, I can see the transition. I can see the transformation. You know what I mean? Like the full circle. And so you said a few statements that I wanted to maybe touch up on. One being, as a man, because I'm not a man, so this is a great question for you to answer, is as a man who was maybe I'm gonna generalize, maybe at a state at one point where you're teeter-tottering between being this brave masculine entity that is there to fight for his country, right? And at the same time, you're also this soul that is developing this gentleness and this grace when it comes to loving yourself all over again.
Yeah.
You know
well,
what I mean?
I would say that, so, you know, PTSD and everything doesn't have to always deal with military, like just things in life, things on the street, especially like with alcohol and drug abuse. I think there's a lot of PTSD that happens from people through the situations they go through. And yeah, when I was in the military and I did search and rescue, there was times where I just didn't really feel that I was even qualified to do any of that because it was very overwhelming. It was scary. But a lot of it too is, you know, after getting out and being on the street, there's just so much, like you're trying to live up to something and being around people trying to be masculine and tough, but really inside you're scared. All you're wanting to be is accepted.
Yeah.
But you're acting out in a way, because I always felt alone. So I always acted out more than somebody else would, like more extreme, because I felt like if I didn't act out extreme enough, you would win. And it was really me acting out because I was scared and I just wanted to be accepted. And I didn't know how to deal with that.
Could you say, sorry for interrupting you, Chuck, but could you say that acting out would be your cry for help? Because today I really clearly see the statement, and it's not with you, I'm just saying in general, hurt people, right?
You know, that I was going to say that's a great statement, because that's what Lamont told me, because prior to me coming back out and starting to work on myself, I was just telling him like, hey, dude, I'm a bad person, you know, all these things. And he goes, you're not a bad person. You're just hurt, and hurt people hurt people.
Yes.
And, you know, I've always felt that I'm a good person, and I act out because I was scared, or I felt cornered or pressured in certain situations where I acted out because I was scared. Not because I woke up in the morning with that mentality of, hey, I'm going to go do something. I've never done that. Like that's just never been my way of thinking, was to get up and go do something wrong. So
yeah, because the intention has never been to be hurtful or to hurt others. The intention is, I need to undo this pain that's inside of me, and how do I undo it? And usually we undo this pain externally and kind of bouncing it off to somebody else. If we're going to be honest, because I'm going to be honest, there's moments that I'm hurt and I'm going to hurt the person next to me. And it's not an intentional thing. It's not something that I'm going to turn around and be like, oh yeah, today I'm going to wake up and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to be this kind of individual with the next one next to me. No, it's not an intention. It's not a plan. It's not even a thought or a want. But when there's so much built up, it's almost like your cup is so full that next little drop will overload. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so this happens to all humans. It happens not only for PTSD. It happens, for example, hey, I'm a mom. I have a teenager, right? And hurt may be just being overly exhausted today. So what happens? My patience runs thin, and who do I take it out on? I take it on the person next to me. You know, hurt doesn't necessarily need to be an experience that, you know, is so grand that it's unspeakable. Hurt can be many, many things. And so the reason why I brought this up is because if the viewer is watching this today and saying, I don't understand, why am I behaving this way, if we're self-analyzing or witnessing, or why is somebody doing this to me, right? If we can look at the experience with a little bit of disconnect in the sense of attack, if I'm attacking somebody or somebody's attacking me, and we look at it as soul beings, then there's always a little space of compassion. There's a space to find compassion. And that's what Lamont saw in you at all times. And now you're able, because you live this vibration, because you are this person now, you're not, it's not a cloak and a mask. You have become, it always was part of you.
Yeah.
It was just covered with hurt and with experience. And today you get to now be this vision and this voice to somebody else. And that is like the biggest beautiful moment that I've witnessed with you, is that you are absolutely, this is your vibration.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I do want to be able to put that out there, because if you're watching this right now, audience, and you want to connect to somebody and you want to be able to find a space where you're seen, Chuck's your guy. You know what I mean? Like CyberChuck 2.0, Team Cyber Yoga, either or. These are your contact places for Chuck, because right now you'll find them. Like, you know what? Let's talk about it. Where can they find you? Let's go there right now. Where can they find you?
So at CyberChuck 2.0 is Instagram. It's also my TikTok. It's also my YouTube. But I'm mostly on like TikTok and Instagram. And, you know, that's just where I share my story every day. And to go back on why we hurt other people, a lot of times what I realized was when I came to this space where I cleared myself and I could think clearly, it was never that I was upset at other people. It was that I was disappointed in myself and I was embarrassed in life. I was embarrassed where my life was at. You know, I was 30-something years old, in and out. You know, from my 20s, I was getting in trouble, you know. And, you know, living with my mom at 30-something. And then it took me literally took me until I was, what, 42? Or right before 40. Yeah, 42. Took me till I was 42 to get my act together. So that tells you it's never too late. You know what I mean?
Right. Never.
It's never too late. You have right now, you can change it. And before, I used to think it's already too late.
Okay.
And that's when someone like Lamont and Desiree, they both stepped up. You know, she was a big part of it too. She's the one who got me daily saying, are you being productive? Are you being productive? And then that started with her, and that kept me in and out of what I was doing. You know, I was still sliding back into drinking. And then Lamont coming on top going, brother, come on, and believing. And once I took that step, you know, it just took those two juggling and helping me and motivating daily that now it's this.
Exactly. So you know what? Let's give, because Desiree is part of Team Cyber Yoga, and let's give Desiree a little bit of space, because she will be another interviewee. She'll be interviewed very shortly, and you will get to find out exactly who Desiree is. But here's the cool thing that the audience doesn't know, that there's an interconnection between Lamont, Chuck, Desiree, and so there's a beautiful friendship in between these three warriors right now. And Desiree plays a big part, because we call her, for those of you that don't know who Desiree is, she is Ripple Effect Collective, right? And what she does is she's the glue. And I said this at Lamont's interview. She's the glue. She's the guy that, you know, will pop in and out, because she's a very busy individual, but she'll pop in and out just to make sure that the glue is there. Okay, guys, get back in, get back in, get back in. And so Desiree, I know, was a huge part of your healing process, and still is very much a part of your daily interactions. Mm-hmm. And so thank you, Desiree. I'm going to say it for everybody out there, because this man here who's I'm talking to right now has become such a huge part of my life. And it takes somebody like you and Lamont and Chuck to come into collection, to co-creation, the three of you together, to keep actively growing this team, keep actively growing this mission that is Cyber Yoga, that is Team Cyber Yoga. And there's a Cybertron also associated, which will come up in further interviews for those of you just planting a little seed there. Plant the seed, plant the seed.
Yeah.
And so we're talking about Desiree as being maybe a person who keeps you in check. One of those guys that keeps you in check, right?
Yeah, she's very raw and real and just goes right to it. We went to high school together, so there's really I can't pull any wool over her eyes or anything because she knows me. We went to high school together, so I can't. Yeah,
Yeah,
she
but
just
isn't it
knows who
great
I
to
am.
have?
So
I have a few friends like that that
mhm.
are those friends that you know that you can be the silly little self that you are. I'm talking about myself. I can be silly. I can be all over the place. I can be Sylvana, but
Yeah.
I'm also held accountable. You know what I mean? I'm also like when shit hits the fan, I'm told the truth, and those are the friendships to me that I honor very much so, because there is no space there's space to play, absolutely. But there's, again, I use the word, there's a co-creation. You're walking this path together and you're building something, whether it's spoken or unspoken. It's a collective, it's an agreement that's happened, right? And so Desiree plays a big role in this. But I do know that you do have another inspiration, a really big inspiration that I'd love for you to share, because the purpose of this entire these episodes, Civilizations of Truth, is really about being able to grow this love train of inspiration. And so if you can give me somebody that daily or that inspires you in whatever way that you'd like to speak about, that
Okay.
I can absolutely now, after you're done and we've done the next series of interviews, I can go and now get these people to speak about their lives and maybe hopefully build this community, this cyber community of healers. You know what I mean? Because we're all there. Everybody's
Yeah.
there. Everybody's got a role to play, but we're trying to bring them together. We're trying to say, hey, here's your community. You know what I mean? And so who would be the person that inspires you today?
So someone that inspires me, right? So I'm part of Team Cyber Yoga, which is full of Dr. Moose, you, Cyber Love, Cyber Brain, and Cyber Yoga. So on a daily, we're in a group. All you guys are motivating me. So I have to look outside of that, right? And I'm part of a community that's part of healers, people that motivate and inspire. And there's someone called Heart to Heart Healing.
Yes.
Also named Karen. I got into Reiki early this year, and she's a Reiki master, and she does healing, and she's amazing at what she does. And I've went to her a few times for some healing, and just to see somebody outside of our collective that's pushing the envelope of love, authentically wanting to help other people without rewards of going, look at me, but just feeling that that's their mission, is to go out there and to help and to love and to push this out there and show other people that there's more to it than that. I would say it's her. And, you know, she's inspired me to go deeper into my Reiki. And, you know, I'm level 1, but I want to go to level 2. And I see how she does healing. And I'm like, how could I get to that? But I've also learned that different people have different abilities.
Right.
So, you know, whatever that looks like for me, it's just pushed me to go, you know what, it's not just us. There's other people out there doing it too. And that really inspires me going, you know what, this is amazing that there's other people that are doing this too. And I'd say her. And, you know, she's an amazing healer. And I know lots of people go to her. You know, I go to her, and it's really helped me. And it's motivating to see people that they're 100 with the love, you know?
Yes.
So.
Okay, so let's give Karen some props right now. Hi, Karen. I just saw you online. So, Karen, how do we contact Karen? How do we get a hold of her if we want to get a hold of this spiritual, beautiful soul?
So she's at Heart to Heart Healing.
Heart to Heart Healing on Instagram.
Yeah, Heart to Heart Healing. You know, she's based in Los Angeles, out of Venice, and you know, you can reach out to her and bring her on there. But in our community, she's an amazing healer. And, you know, that's someone that inspires me, just seeing them push the envelope of spreading love everywhere. You know, that's just, it's great. And then within our own collective, Lamont, you, Desiree, Dr. Moose, and, you know, other people that are out there that are amazing too. And, you know, Castor Pollux, he's amazing. You know,
yes, I was just
Bob,
about to say his
yeah,
name.
you know, he's amazing too. But there's just so many people within the community that are inspiring, that it keeps me inspired, you know? It's not like we're doing this alone. There's other people out there that are doing this. And I believe that, everything that happened within the last year is either woken people up or brought them deeper into whatever they were, whether it be, depression or whatever. And, I'm happy to see that there's people out there that are not focused on negativity and drama, and that are daily just trying to just focus on what's going to uplift themselves or uplift others.
Okay, so here's my next question. So COVID's going on, we're at round 79, and the whole world is still kind of interplaying with this dance of this pandemic, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so you just said that, I just heard you saying that your practice, whether it be at your physical practice or your practice of perception, your practice of community, or your practice of just love, just unconditional love, is what keeps you at a steady. It keeps you at a steady.
Yeah.
And in the last year, in a nutshell, can you describe not the physical aspect of COVID, but the psychological aspect of COVID for you? And the reason why I'm asking this question is because people, I guarantee you, I feel it empathetically, I feel it in the universal energy that mental health is huge right now. And that I think that if we spoke about it and we said, hey, what's happening right now is not just happening to one individual, it's happening on a collective.
Yeah.
How do you
So the
cope?
mental
How do you
health part of
cope
it?
in your daily practice, how do you cope?
Okay, well, prior, the mental health part of it, you're being isolated. And when you're isolated and you're by yourself and you have those issues, it starts to grow and grow and grow. And when you're sitting with yourself and your mind's running out of control and seeing all the things that are coming up on TV or whether it be on the social media, it can drive you more insane. So for me personally, just for me, I've cut all that out. I don't interact with any of that. I don't post any of that. I don't go reading about all that stuff. I look at things that are going to uplift me and that are going to help me with my healing, or that are going to inspire me or motivate me. So for me personally, during all this time, I don't pay attention to any of that. So, it's isolated us for sure, but I don't listen to any of that. I just go and I work. I work at trying to do like breathing exercises, meditation, and for me, it's actually worked for the benefit, because now I was kind of pushed into an area where I had to work on myself. So
yeah. So and I completely agree, because I've noticed that for myself, I'm just getting comfortable. For myself, COVID, we had different aspects to our different waves, and it did exactly that. It gave me the opportunity to really heal these boo-boos that I was pushing aside. And some were already on the process of getting healed, right? You're going through, it's a creative, when I say co-creative decision with yourself to say, it's time now. It's time for me to do the work. And we had options during COVID. We could really dig and fall deep into the old patterns, or we could, because we had the exterior disconnect, right? Because we still, here in Montreal, we're still in lockdown. 9:30 curfew, everybody's indoors. You're still wearing masks. You won't, the restaurants are still closed. Everything is still disconnected. So in my city, I think the invitation to be able to still dive deep inside is still very much open, right?
Yeah.
Before the distractions of the external world. The summer's coming, the sun is shining, and what's going to happen is hopefully we're going to be let out of our rat cages, that little spinning wheel, and we're going to start to just like kind of attach ourselves to everything that's happening on the outside, which is beautiful, but yet can bring you right back into the old pattern, right? Mm-hmm. And so what I'm hearing you say is that staying consistent, which is how we started this interview, staying consistent, witnessing the self, paying attention to the mind, and following your heart seems to be your recipe.
Well, yeah, just because everything's going to start opening back up, if that's what's going to happen or not, I'm not going to go back to what I was doing, going back to the bars or anything like that. I'm going to stay consistent with what I'm doing. It's been working, and I'm happier. So I'm not going back to my old ways, because being happy is something I didn't know what that meant. So, yeah.
Okay, and now talking about consistency, we spoke once upon a time about you running a marathon.
Yeah. So,
So
like
what are the plans
three
there?
years ago, I was staying at the VA at a program. I was there for about 11 months, and I ran the LA Marathon to raise money for the veterans. So every day I run, or every other day I run. So if the opportunity comes up again, I want to run the LA Marathon again to raise money and awareness for mental health and for other things for veterans. So hopefully that we get that opportunity to do that, and they open up to where we can do marathons and stuff like that again.
Yeah, so I was looking at it at the online. I was Googling it, and if everything goes back to normal, you have a marathon November 2021. So
yeah, I really don't know what that looks like out here, because they still have all the mask mandate and everything. So I'm not sure. Until I really see that coming to, I haven't put too much energy towards it. So I'm only focusing on what's here and now,
No, and you're right. And you're right to do that. You're right to do that. Yet, I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to be like, from one show, I'll be like, go, run. Hopefully I'll be there by September, but by November. But here's the thing. So we spoke about the future program for the vets. We spoke about your inspiration. We spoke about Team Cyber Yoga. We spoke about cyber yoga and the plans for the collective. We spoke about Karen, your inspiration. And before we go any further, I want to tell them why Robin. So the audience, those of you that know Chuck and I, we have a friendship outside of this interview. We came together fairly close to the same way I came together with Lamont, which was very much through a pull, a universal pull. Chuck and I bonded because of Puma, so I will forever be grateful to Puma. Forever be grateful to Puma, because that's what brought us together. But that's definitely not what kept us together. What kept us together is our mission and our hearts. And so one day we were having a conversation, and I had told Lamont I was going to say this, and Chuck and Lamont are besties, and they're co-creating this world, and they're actually putting together this opportunity for us to come to have a space of love and of freedom. And I have a person here in Montreal by the name of Sylvana, DJ Sirius Black, who is very much similar to Lamont, because they're the quiet people that have this entity. And yet Chuck and I are very much our personalities are, they're a lot more playful. Not to say that Lamont and Sylvana aren't. This is not a comparison. It's just to tell you where the Robin and Robin came from. And one day in conversation, Chuck and I were having a conversation, and we talked about like Lamont and Sylvana, and instantaneously we're like, we are the Robins to the Batmans. You know what I mean? You remember that conversation?
Yeah.
Okay. So for the audience and for those of you that wonder, when I say Robin, it is always CyberChuck 2.0. It is always Charles Campbell that's here online with you guys. And that's just an internal nickname that we have given each other, and has really much begun to become part of our friendship, that Robin. And so when you hear me say Robin, it's this guy right here. That's right in front of me. My inspiration, my daily. So for this, Robin, I love you. I love you so much. And I'm so grateful that you were able to give us the time this morning. I know you're committed to your daily videos. I know you're getting back out there. You're in the middle of teacher training. You're Reiki, level 2ing. There's so much going on with you. These guys are being interviewed and left, right, and center in California. They're always on some sort of different podcast, Lamont and Chuck. And so my invitation is to you, to the viewers out there, is to definitely connect with CyberChuck 2.0, with Cyber Yoga, and with Team Cyber Yoga, and stay in touch, because there's so many beautiful things coming that we don't even have the time to be able to give them all to you right now. There's so much coming. And so, Chuck, before we go, is there anything that you'd love to share with the audience? I asked this question to Lamont, and I'm going to ask you, if there was one last question that I could ask you that I did not get to at this moment, and you'd love to answer, what would it be?
Question that you would ask me?
Like something that you'd like to give to the audience, whether it be one last piece of inspiration.
I would just say
a project that's coming up, anything, any little tidbit, any little.
I would say just never give up. Like, there's always that opportunity to change. You're just one thought, one idea, and one action from changing your life. And yes, I'm a great example of that, because I didn't think that my life was going anywhere. I thought I was stuck. That was it. I'm 42 years old. Where's my life going to go? I'm too old to change. And, also to be that person to be there to motivate and inspire somebody, because you're just, all it is, sometimes people are just one person away, yeah, one piece of motivation or inspiration from changing their lives. And what Lamont has done to me, I've had the opportunity to give that love to other people. And, it becomes a train, and you start sharing it, and other people start doing it, and then it goes from one person to several people. So, just stay motivated and just keep continuing to be consistent. And when you're consistent and you're coming from your heart with what you're doing, it ultimately will work out, but you have to truly believe it.
You have to. And exactly. So again, right before we leave, you just left us with a beautiful nugget of wisdom. What you believe becomes your reality, right? Yeah. And until you believed that your worth was not your external influences, but your heart. When I heard you say that you start to believe in your heart, like Lamont saw, like he saw your soul, and you are not a new version, you are the creator's version. It's always been there. You are CyberChuck 2.0. You are Charles Campbell. You are love. And that has always been there. The minute I saw you, I saw it. I saw you and I knew it. And you radiate this version of yourself that is so beautiful, that is so palpable, that is so contagious, that the universe is just giving you back another version of exactly who you already are. And for that, I thank you. I thank you for walking this path.
And I thank you for seeing that. And I thank you for the love that you put out every single day. It's amazing. And I'm so grateful. I have so much gratitude for it.
I love you. Thank you so much for giving your time, for giving us your time. Karen, if you're still there, I know you're online. We're coming for you at the end of all this Team Cyber Yoga. You were the next nomination. You were the next inspiration. So hopefully you will be able to share your story as well. Thank you so much, guys, for just giving us your time, giving Chuck your time today, giving Team Cyber Yoga your time. Reach out. Again, CyberChuck 2.0 on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok. You're blowing up on TikTok. Go watch these guys. Blowing up is not the word. So for those of you that want to have fun, his thing is something that I can't accomplish. A video under 30 seconds or a video under a minute. My gift, the gab, doesn't allow me to go there yet. But you inspire me every single day. So for that, thank you so much. I wish you a beautiful, beautiful day.
Yeah. And you know what? My brother Vinny's on here right now. I just want to send much love to him. He's in the process of going through what I was going through, what Lamont did for me, and I'm so proud of him.
Vinny, stay in touch. You have a family right here supporting you. Reach out to any of us, because this is how it's done. Collectively, one breath, one heart, one story at a time, brother, and you are part of this family. So please reach out. Please.
He'll be one of your interviews coming up.
He will be. Yeah. You know what?
It'll be Vinny 2.0. It'll be Vinny 2.0.
Karen, and Vinny. We're on. We have two
Yeah.
for CyberChuck 2.0. Nice. I love that.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right. Love you. Thank you so much, Sylvana.
I love you.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.